What's up, everybody, and welcome to the FPL WildCats Live. Thank you for joining us this Tuesday evening after we have recently heard that, unfortunately, a certain player is likely to be leaving the Premier League. I'm sure we'll get someone's feelings on that. We are also joined by a special guest, but before I hand over to Nim, do make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it on all sorts of socials so we can get as many people in here talking FPL as possible. And Nim, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, thanks for that, Jay. And welcome everyone to the stream. Hope you're all well. We've got a guest with us tonight. Welcome, Fergie from Fantasy Football Hub. How you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, Nim. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Have you had a nice international break? A bit chilled?
I have, yeah. I've actually enjoyed it because I don't know how you guys feel, but this season just seems to be just one decision after another, and we went through a period over the winter where things like fixtures were changing and games were postponed and rearranged, and it was just absolute chaos. So I haven't been
constant.
Watching exactly with Wales constantly letting us down in the internationals. I haven't really watched much of that, but just enjoyed the break from the madness, and all set to go again for game week 30.
Yeah, well, I mean, you play many different fantasy football games, don't you? So I'm pretty sure you're in need of the break. Is it number one in Sky at the moment?
I wish. No, it's number one. It's number one. I'm in Dream Team.
In Dream Team.
Yeah,
in the Sun.
Moment, so.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cool. Well, as always, we start the stream with looking over how we got on in previous game weeks. So, Fergie, as our guest, would you like to kick us off and tell us how you got on in game week 29, please?
Sure. Yeah. So I had 54 -4. I had a small green arrow, which I was quite surprised at, actually, because I only went in with eight playing players plus Son. So I've been talking on my own pods and stream stuff about my kind of strategy of not really focusing too heavily on 29, because I think you should look at games that the game in blocks rather than kind of individual weeks and stuff. So I went in with 8 players. But luckily, the transfer I made, or one of them I brought in Trossard for Salah, which is obviously really nice. A bit of a game changer for the week. So he basically got me the green arrow. Brought in Dunk for a hit as well. I had Rafinha, captain Kane, and I had Antonio. And watching the highlights back, I think Antonio was quite unlucky actually to get 7 points. So quite happy actually with a small green, because I was expecting River Red with only 8 players. So that was my week.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good, actually. I think I remember on the stream everyone was pretty set against Trossard except for a certain someone. Just putting that in there. Okay, Ray, how did you get on, buddy?
Well, I mean, I've been spitting about it for about a month now, about game week 29.
Just a bit. You said it's over.
Just a little bit. I mean, there was even a meme made for me. Thank you, Kurt, which went really well. I think Andy liked it as well.
I did like it, yeah. Really enjoyed it.
So, I ended up with 54 points. That's including the -4 as well. Good lad. Look at that handsome fella.
Just in time. Just in time.
So with all the that's not on the screen, but never mind.
You'll have to bring it back up later, Kurt.
I'll keep it there. So with all the planning and everything, so I took out Salah, took out Stones, and took out. Oh, let me check. Sorry, this is great audio. Took out Son, took out Salah, and took out Stones, and I bought in I bought in Veltman, who was fantastic. I bought in Lookman, which when I look back at it is just a bit of a weird decision because I was a bit unsure about Trossard starting. And I bought in Bale, which was a risk the whole time. I knew it was a risk. And I made a grand total of plus 1 point when you take into account my hits. So obviously I'm winning FPL. So it was a small green arrow, which I'm happy with. And I'm just happy this game week's out of the way now because I was planning too long. So yeah, about a 12k raise to 72k. But my big issue is Gareth Bale. I have no idea what to do with him. So, I mean, this game week, I'm likely going to take out Veltman and bring in Aspie because I think he'll start, possibly get an assist. But that means probably not playing Bale. And with his comments, the way he's playing, Jose is just so volatile in every single way, isn't he? Yeah. This is usually the point where he usually loses his job, where he really starts to get quite defensive and volatile. Bale scares me. I have no idea what to do with him. So onwards and upwards, as they say. Maybe a Spurs fan could tell me about it.
we'll have a little chat about Bale later for sure. Okay, so Brett, how did you get on, buddy?
Yeah, horrible week for me. This season, even though I've not done that well, I've been quite good at remaining fairly positive. This week...
Oh, sorry.
Should we just pull up that Sterling stream again?
I don't know, Brett, mate.
Compared to last season, anyway, like I feel like I've done okay at like not regretting stuff at least. I've been quite disciplined in not regretting moves, you know. This week, it was a big coin flip for me because I had the free hit available. So I put together a free hit draft for this week. And the free hit draft that I put together scored 83 points over the 4 fixtures, which would have really transformed my season. You know, I would have cut my rank in half. Instead, I thought, well, it's just 4 fixtures. You know, can I really expect a big score from these compared to the non-free hit teams? You know, I had 8 players or 7 or 8 players anyway. So I thought maybe I can better utilize the free hit later in the season. I chose to keep it and scored 38. So it was a 45-point swing, and you can't really ask for much more on a chip than that. So I'm that was tough to take, just because almost every player on my free hit draft, the triple Brighton defense, including Veltman, you know, the clean sheet for all 3 and the assist. Lingard and Antonio, you know, 19 points between them. And I had Bale on the free hit, but first on the bench was Lookman, so he would have come in for an assist as well. So the free hit could not have gone any better if I had used it, you know. So that was really tough to take over 4 fixtures, you know. I've barely scored 83 in a full game week, let alone over 4 fixtures. So I could never have imagined that kind of score. So, you know, I've still got the free hit handy. And at the moment, I've got triple Spurs and 2 Man City. And of course, they both blank in 33. So I'm thinking maybe I might free hit then, because Spurs have got this double game week in 32 now. So I'll probably hold the 3 Spurs players, including Bale. I might just keep him if he plays that double, maybe not. They've got, the double in 32. They blank in 33, so I can free hit. And then they face Sheffield United at home in 34. So I think there's a nice little gap there. And in game week 33, I think Leicester play Palace, a nice fix to target there. I think Liverpool are at home to Newcastle. You know, I've got no Leicester and no Liverpool players. So it looks like a good week for me to free hit there. And I just hope it can, you know, bring back a lot of the points I missed out on this week. So terrible game week for me, 38 points. And my transfer was John Stones to Stuart Dallas. And obviously Dallas didn't do anything this week, but he's at home to Sheffield United next week, which I wanted him for anyway. So it took a couple of days to get over that. I was really annoyed that the free hit would have done so well, but hopefully I can do it later.
Yeah, it's not great. It's like never a great one when you have that kind of kick yourself moment with those sorts of things, because I think you kind of hold on to it for a while, don't you? Really.
Swing that big was painful.
Jay, how did you get on?
So, I mean, Brett's made me feel a little bit better, but I have been planning for this game week for a while, and I just seem to have made all the wrong decisions, especially just before deadline, because I'm pretty sure I was on the stream saying bring in Veltman, Lingard, all these players I was mentioning. I said I'd captain Bamford, and then what did I do? I captained Rafinha, which isn't too bad, but I brought in Dallas instead of Veltman because I was like, I probably won't use my wildcard in Gameweek 30. I brought in Bale instead of Lingard. That worked out amazingly for me. And, of course, have all the players that I had brought in early and kept just in case they play, like Grealish. And, of course, Grealish still hasn't come back into the side yet for Aston Villa, and I've still got him for Gameweek 30. So, unfortunately, it's 44 points with the -4 down to 40. So, nowhere near what I was hoping for, considering I was planning for this game week for so long. And, yeah, it's just... I looked back on the graphics I did for my video last week, before Game Week 29, and all the decisions I made in that video were the correct ones, and then somehow I decided to talk myself out of them when I actually go to make my decisions. So I think my gut feeling's generally been good initially, and then I just maybe overthink it and go different directions, and that's kind of bit me a couple of times this season. So it's about 216k at the moment, a little red arrow, but I'm happy Game Week 29's out of the way now.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us though, buddy. That, making good choices and then overthinking it. I mean, definitely happens to the best of us. Kurt, how did you get on?
I thought I did pretty badly just because I had a few clangers in my team, but played my free hit and got 50 points. So in the grand scheme of things, I can't complain too much, but it's just... I mean, I can't complain. I mean, I take the risks, and sometimes I reap the rewards, and I'm happy. And sometimes, they come back and bite you a bit. You can't, play a risky style and make, a couple of interesting captaincy choices and expects it to always work. But 50 all out. Got a bit of luck as well. Bale and Son not playing. Aubameyang and Dunk came in, so that was 8 points off the bench, which wasn't too bad. Kane, Rafinha, Lingard, and Antonio are probably the highlights, but captaining Dallas was a poor choice when it was on Lingard for quite a long time before the week. The vice captain as well was Cresswell, so it wouldn't have got any better if he didn't play, because Cresswell got a big fat whopping zilch. But a bit annoyed that I guess one of those weeks that I could have pressed on a bit if I'd have potentially saw the Sun thing happening and took him out for a player that would play. There's been more points there. If I'd have captained Lingard, there's 12 more points there. So just one of those weeks. It's tied me by. It's kept the rank at a decent pace, but it could have been a bit better, which is the annoying thing.
Yeah. I think that's the order of the day with some of the free hits, isn't it? Some absolutely smashed out of the park, and then others, just missed out really. Well, this is an actual rarity, because I think I might have the most points out of all of us this week, which is really rare. I actually finished last game week on a bit of a high before the international break. I got 61 points, giving me my highest OR of the season. So I'm now around 465,000, which, doesn't sound fab, but it just shows how bad of a season and how much of a slog it's been for me. I played Sanchez over Martinez, had Sanchez for weeks and weeks and weeks now, have not played him once, decided to give it a crack this week, and thankfully it kind of paid off with his 6 points. Unfortunately, my defence was just an absolute no-show, like nothing coming from there whatsoever, as was Son and Bale. I mean, Spurs in midfield absolutely stuffed me over, really. Took the -4 for Bale and for Lingard, so the Bale part definitely didn't pay off. The Lingard bit definitely did. Rafinha stepped up with his goal and 8 points, though it could have been a lot more, as Jay probably knows as soon as he captained him. Lingard absolutely smashing it out of the park with a goal and assist for 12 points. Chuffed with my forward line, they all returned. Bamford with a goal and an assist, Antonio with his goal, and as Andy touched upon there, he could have had so much more with his plethora of chances. And Kane as my captain with that dodgy penalty. But yeah, I have an absolute headache on who to play this week. At the moment, Son is benched, but that's just only based on the flag. But obviously, if he's past fit or we hear anything else about the fact that he's playing, then I'm not really sure who to drop. And before we heard about the double game week news, I was considering selling Bale on for Jota against Arsenal, because we all know how terrible our defence is at the moment. Or my other transfers consideration is a swap of a City defender for a Chelsea one, maybe, and playing one of those instead. Either way, it's going to be a really tough decision on who to bench this week. And actually, I did ponder whether to bench boost this week, just because of how good my team lines up and how difficult it is on knowing who to actually play. But my slight concern with the bench boost is, there are a couple of fixtures still yet to come down the line. We do have this double game week now, which might be a chance, although I'm not sure with the game week in between I'm going to be able to get enough to really utilise it. But, there's still things that are yet to really be worked out down the line, and something's just telling me to hold it at the moment. So it's things like having Sanchez against United that I'm not loving on the bench, really. So and the defence is a bit, with City against Leicester. So yeah, probably likely hold, but I haven't quite nailed down my transfers yet. I think it's all going to depend on Son, and I'm sure we'll touch upon some of the other bits and pieces in just a moment. So on that note, we'll move on to the questions that came from our social media first. So guys, carry on getting your questions in the live chat. Brett will make a note of them and we will come around to those eventually. But to start us off, Nuclear Atoms asked, should I transfer out Bale, even though I took a hit for him last week, to bring in either Mahrez, Ward-Prowse or Havertz as a 1 week punt? It seems likely that Bale won't start after his comments during the international break. So, shall I chuck this one to you, Andy?
Yeah, thanks for giving me the
nice, easy one
literally
to start.
the nuclear atom question of the lot. I think, firstly, you said you brought in Bale for a hit, which may be playing a part in your decision or not. I think the first thing I would just separate that out, right? That's a decision you made and it's gone. So I wouldn't let that firstly play any part on whether you move him on or not. Personally, I think out of the three, was it Ward-Prowse, Havertz, and
Mahrez.
I wouldn't go for Mahrez, and it's probably the same name I wouldn't bench boost on yours either, because you just never know who's going to play. City have got Dortmund in midweek, and the last thing you want to do is bring in a player and they just don't play in it. Pep roulette. Everyone knows it's basically impossible to predict. And you've got to think that Pep is very likely to play his strongest team in midweek against Dortmund, which very much on your team name, that would include Stones and Cancelo. And current form would include Mahrez, I think.
The bench boost looked nicer if I went, obviously, and swapped Cancelo out for a Rudiger.
I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. I think Ward-Prowse is a decent option, but if it's a 1 week punt, which I think
the double game week, it'd be more than a single, wouldn't it? I guess.
Yeah, I think the question was a 1 week punt, and if it is, I'd be tempted to go for a Chelsea player. I think that Havertz is quite unexposed at the moment.
So
in terms
are we
of ownership
thinking Bale is done? I mean, I've been a bit. What did he say during the international break? Because for anyone who's missed it,
he basically said he's going back to Madrid, I think, at the end of the season.
He's used Spurs as a gym.
More or less.
So
he's gone over to
people
Spurs,
read into his comments. He tried to clarify it afterwards, and I read the initial comments, and I can see why fans went that way from the way he said it. But it's not actually what he said. I just think that's the way they kind of treated his statement. But what he said isn't wrong. His parent club is Real Madrid.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, he's going back to Real Madrid. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's putting in some hot water with Mourinho.
You know, and if you're thinking about holding on to him for a double game week in 32, I mean, we're questioning whether he's going to play in a single game week, right? So if we're questioning whether he's going to play the single game week, why are we confident he's going to play in a double? I can't see it happening. So
especially when you've got Son, if he does come back, you know Son starts, you know Kane starts, you have options.
This is it, and Bale hadn't started, so you know he when Spurs were in the Europa as well, he didn't. You know, he either played one or the other. So I don't think that Bale plays twice. I think if the question is for a 1 week punt, assuming I don't know if the guy who asked a question is Wildcard in 31, which is maybe why they're saying for a 1 week punt. I think if they are, I would go for it for a 1 week punt. I personally would, because you're not sure that Bale is going to play, but you know you're pretty sure that the Chelsea boys are going to play, and they've got that Plum home game against West Brom. So that would be my way of going, I think.
Okay, Ray, any thoughts?
No, similar boat. I think Nuclear might have the wildcard for 31, and it's the same with me. I'll either bring in Aspie or bring in Havertz for 1 week punt, and then wildcard 31. I think it's between the two of them personally. So Havertz all day for me.
I think I was fairly set on wildcard in 31 myself, but I think the double game week news has kind of made me think, well, I've got 3 Spurs. Do I want to kind of, but then I guess, like Andy's just said, one of those is Bale. So I'm kind of now, deciding whether or not he's worth.
I'm thinking about bringing in Lucas for that 1 week and then taking him out, because he's more likely to play. And it seems like he's given a bit more offensive expression in the team. Because Brett knows I love heat maps. So I was looking at his advanced positions, and he was really acting as the guy to support Harry Kane, and sometimes making more advanced runs leading up to his goal. So I think for that game week, I'll take out, for example, Neto, because I'm thinking of bringing in Neto for my wild card, and then actually put in Mora for that double, and then they have the blank, don't they? And that's when I can bring back Neto or think of something. So I actually look at more of Lucas as a possible decent third option rather than someone like Bale. I think Bale, he scares me. It's almost like Pep Roulette just for Bale, isn't it? You have no clue if the guy's going to start, and it's eating up so much money for a bench player, in my opinion.
So was that heat map for game week 29, or was it over a couple of game weeks?
Mostly 29.
Yeah, because the problem is with Son not there and Bale not there, I'd imagine Mora would be given the licence if Son comes back. But if Son isn't playing and Bale isn't playing, I completely see.
But he does play. But he does play as the number 10 in air quotes, doesn't he? He's mostly the spear of the 3 in midfield now, because he's got a fantastic engine as well. But for 6.6 million,
I mean, he's definitely a player that could hit absolutely get you a great score in 1 game week. Just it's the amount of times I brought him in hoping for that, and it's not happened. So I know I can do it myself, but I can definitely see it happening. It's a bit like Trossard last game week. Every time I brought him in, he's never done anything, and then of course the one time I don't and ignore him, that's when he gets a brilliant score.
Is Dele Alli an option, do we think, for the double game week?
Well, I don't want to say no now, because if you say yes and he is an option, next week you'll be like, I think someone here said Ali was a decent pick. So
I've only ever done that once.
So maybe.
I'm just taking my moments while I can.
No. For me, I would probably prefer the Mora shout over Ali if you're going for a 1 week punt.
Andy?
I wouldn't go for anyone who you don't think is going to play. I just think it's a waste of a transfer. You know, if Kane's fit and Son's fit, they play both. You can maybe look at a defender, maybe the keeper, you know, maybe someone like Reguilon, or someone like that. But I don't think, you know, Spurs are, you know, aren't exactly playing well. They got Everton, which will be a really hard game as well. I think I've got Kane and Son in my team at the moment, but at the moment I'm not planning on getting a third. And I don't think, maybe Reguilon is the only other person I would suggest, because you know he seems pretty nailed on, you know, on that left hand side. I think they do have the Carabao Cup final the weekend after that as well, which may play a part, because they're going to have Man City. You know, it's their only chance. You know, if you think Mourinho as a manager is famous paying for trophies, right? So it's their only chance of, it's probably Harry Kane's last chance, maybe at Spurs, of ever winning a trophy. So, I think there's that to bear in mind as well. But I can't get excited about, Bale or Ali or Moura for a double. Moura has been absolutely fantastic, but he seems to be more assist and assister a little bit, I think. But yeah,
Like
that's
a workhorse
that's
as
my
well,
thoughts.
isn't it? Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
just
but-
realised I can afford De Bruyne for for Bale. That
Decent.
is tempting. Sorry. It's not a double game week player though, and I'm a bit of a monkey for wanting a double game week player in my team. So like a bit of cheekiness now and again. Cool. Okay then. So before we move on to Mish's question, I'm sure it'll come up in the chat a little bit as well, but on the note of Spurs with their double game week, are there any other players that we're considering from any of the other teams that have a double that could be worth just putting out there for people? So we've got Everton, right? So what are our thoughts on Calvert-Lewin? Because he did quite well for England there in the first game. Didn't see much of the second game, but thoughts on him? I mean, I've not long sold him, so I'm not like I'm there going, who do I drop out of my front line? But then it's kind of chasing the double. What do we think? Ray, thoughts on Calvert-Lewin?
He's a streaky
or any
player.
of the others, to be honest.
He's a streaky player, isn't he? I mean, he'll go
Yeah.
5-6 games and score 6-7 goals, and he'll go 3-4 without. I mean, remember, end of last season, I had him for like the last 9 games. He didn't get a goal. And then he started the season on fire, and then once again had his injury, went through a barren run. I like the look of Digne because of the fact with the set pieces. I think we're just going to have a lot of money to play with because, for example, I'm can't believe I'm saying it, but when I wildcard, I won't have Salah. So
yeah, well, you were so up on Salah. I mean, just
Well,
a couple of game weeks ago, you were like, I am not selling him.
Well,
like, he is staying in my team.
I think Andy and I triple captained him for that double game week. And then I was just like, you know what?
That's it, I'm done.
Apart from the Sheffield United, because it became like, I was putting all kinds of memes out saying, yeah, he's my king and all this bollocks. Sorry, man of language. But, he just doesn't look good enough for that price. I'd rather have Jota and Robbo, because, Liverpool have decent fixtures. But sorry, where was I going with this?
Everton.
Everton, there you go. I do like the look of Digne. I think when he plays, not a lot of errors come from his side. But I'll be more backing him for the attacking potential because fantastic cross of the ball. Calvert-Lewin's brilliant in the air. Richarlison's also decent as well. But also, I might keep an eye out for Sigurdsson, because he's been getting on.
He's one of my mum's favourites.
A lot.
She almost Sigurdsson and Aguero just pretty much nailed in my mum's team.
A lot when he plays. A lot of the creativity goes through him as well. So he could be someone to keep an eye out for. But the only one I'd maybe keep an eye out for is Digne. To be honest with you, I'm not really attracted to any of the others.
Do we know when Everton's double game week will be yet? Is there any information on that?
Them and Villa are still outstanding.
Yeah, we're still kind of waiting. It's kind of hanging there. So yeah, we only really have the Spurs one.
I'm not sure if I could madden him, but at the moment, it's only Spurs who actually have the double in 32.
Yeah.
I don't think Everton
just Spurs, but yeah, Everton, Southampton are to be confirmed.
Yes,
so
sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Brett, you considering any of the others in your team, like not just for 32, for the up and coming? Sorry, I should have made that a bit clearer, really, with Everton and Southampton.
I think Ben Quillen said that he sees it being put in that game week still.
So...
Wait, so game week...
So
have Everton in as a double?
Well,
it's not confirmed 100%.
It's not confirmed.
But
there's a chance
basically,
of it.
the chances are it will be put that game week.
Wow, okay, so Everton and Southampton, is it? Or...
Well, it'd be Villa-Everton, wouldn't it?
Everton and Villa.
So I'd look more at Villa rather than Everton personally, especially with Grealish back.
I mean, a fair few of us will have Villa in, right? Sure. Mostly anyway after the blank, I would have thought. So, yeah.
I know Grealish has been out for a long time, but he'll always be on my radar when he comes back.
Yeah.
So if he's back after this break, then he'll certainly because I don't have a wild card as well, I'm not in a position to take 1 week punts, and then wild card after. So I'm always looking to make longer term transfers now. And Grealish is like a player that I consider a long-term transfer, just someone that can tick along and you can just rely on to play every minute of every game, So I always like those options. And I had a little gander at Ben's, the scenarios of 35 and 36 now could be some blanks and doubles in 35 and 36. It's all a bit up in the air. But some teams may double in 35 and not have a blank in 36. And Aston Villa is one of them. So, they're options that will potentially have a double in 35, but then you can also not worry about them blanking the following week. So, yeah, I still like Villa options a lot for the long term, Martinez as well. And hopefully when Grealish comes back, maybe Watkins can start firing again. Because I've had him for like 6 game weeks now without a goal, so that's been a bit annoying.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll move on to FPL Michelle's question then. She's on a wild card. Goalkeepers for the run-in she'd like to know about. I currently have Martinez and Mendy. Patricio and Meslier have great rotating fixtures, but feels like a bit of a trap. I have bench boost, would like some pennies for price rises. So, Kurt, thoughts on goalkeepers if you're on a wild card?
Mendy, the first one.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure about ownership, but he's got to be, although it'll be up the recent form, it's got to be lower than a lot of other keepers like Martinez. And you'd bet your house on Chelsea, well, being pretty resolute at the back. I mean, I'm tempted with a wild card this week. If not, it'll be the next week. With Marcus Alonso in my team, he'll be out for Aspilicueta. I'll be tempted with the Chelsea double up, even with the fixtures against them, because they're the sort of team that they can look good and score a few goals and get a clean sheet, but they also look like a team that if you get a City or a Liverpool that are firing on all cylinders and potentially going there to sort of wreak havoc like a wrecking ball, they can just go in their shell and say, nah, not today. 0-0, please.
Yeah, they've kept they've conceded 2 goals in the last 10, 11 Premier League games. They're just not.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Yeah. So yeah, I think Chelsea's got to be up there.
Yeah. Thoughts, Andy, on any of that? Patricia and Meslier having the rotating fixtures. Is it a trap?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't go for Meslier, just because I just don't think Leeds are a good defensive team. I know they had, the odd clean sheet, but I think it maybe overthinking a little bit. I just look at the teams who've got the best run of fixtures till the end of the season. With Chelsea now, they've got runners, as Kurt just said, they've got their next 5 are West Brom, Palace, Brighton, West Ham, and Fulham. I mean, they're awesome fixtures. You could put Mendy in there and probably get between 20 and 30 points. Leicester, actually, between 32 and 35, play West Brom, Palace, Southampton, Newcastle. You could even chuck Schmeichel in there maybe. I like Leno at Arsenal. So Arsenal's fixtures for the rest of the season. I just get them.
I hate Leno. You're talking to the wrong Arsenal fan. I am not a Leno fan whatsoever.
Not for this week because they got Liverpool, but after this they've got Sheffield United, Fulham, Everton, Newcastle, West Brom, Chelsea, Palace, and Brighton. I mean that run is absolutely insane. It's the best.
And
the best in the league.
I bet you will get 4-3 clean sheets out of that.
I do think it depends, and I think you mentioned it last week on on how far they go in the Europa as well. But at the moment their squad is stretched really thin. I don't think that Slavia Prague will be a walkover because they've beaten Leicester and Rangers this season. But I think Leno would be okay. I think rotating keepers as a rule is personally just a bit of a trap. If you look at Martinez all season, you look at Pope last season, just get a good keeper and stick with them nearly every week. That's the way I tend to play the game. So
yeah. And once you go all in with quite a lot of money in both keepers, then you're kind of, especially with not many game weeks left, you're quite possibly locking yourself into trying to find that transfer back out of the keeper again to, free up some cash for those last couple, unless you know very specifically who you're playing every week and you're going to stick to vividly, basically.
Definitely agree, yeah. And in terms of getting money, I think Michelle said trying to get more budget and stuff. I mean, this is the season of no budget, right? I just don't think it matters. I would just get your team in place and use your transfers in places in your team where it needs it. And probably, if you've got, was it Martinez and Mendy she had?
Yeah.
She's got them already. I just use the transfers elsewhere. Just play Mendy for
I assume
next
she's
5 game weeks.
Got those two in on her wild card. So I'm assuming she had Martinez before and she's added Mendy at the moment, I would have thought. And then she's probably thinking about Patricio Meslier. I think that is going to be the tough one for the last 9 weeks, isn't it? On whether to go Martinez as your set and forget or Mendy, pretty much. Because, of course, Martinez has been brilliant this season and he will have a double at some point. Obviously, Chelsea have been brilliant clean sheet wise, so it's going to be a tough one, that one, on which way to go. Maybe you could go double Chelsea defence instead to kind of counter that. But yeah, I mean, there's been a bit of rotation there, hasn't there? So maybe Aspilicueta and Rudiger seem the most nailed, I think. So yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts. She says also some thoughts on Lacazette and Salah over Jota. Jay, thoughts on either of those things?
Can I not talk about Wolves' fixtures and
go on if you want
Patricio
to.
Instead?
If you want to.
The reason I
Why
say
not?
that is
Chuck it in.
I'll answer this question. I'd just like to add that Wolves' fixtures are great, and I think Patricio is an option. But the thing is, you've got the likes of Connor Cody there that you could potentially bring in for cheaper. Yeah. And Patricio's the same price as Mendy and Martinez pretty much now anyway. And a lot of us will have value in Martinez, which is why I'll probably stick. As far as, was it Lacazette and Salah over Jota?
I think it's no, it's just, I think she just wants to know about all three of them. I think she's just probably thinking about each of them for a wild card, to be honest, rather than one over the other.
I mean, the thing is, the fixtures are definitely there. You're looking at those teams thinking, is there an option? My problem is, now that I'm off Salah, I kind of feel freer than I was when I had him stuck in my side and he wasn't performing. And I'm not sure I want to go
Ray
back.
understands. Now he gets it.
It is
until he scores 4 goals against Arsenal, and then we'll be like, oh, got him back in quickly. And then he won't do anything else for the rest of the season.
But the thing is, there's a small part of me that's looking at those fixtures thinking it could turn around. And can I get ahead of the curve? But then I might just be walking into the trap of bringing in a player that's out of form.
It's those 4 goals with Egypt, isn't it? There's everyone suddenly gone, what? He can still score.
But the opposition, I mean, El Neni scored.
So. Excuse me, he's our Egyptian prince.
If only Liverpool, they have their prince. Thank you.
Go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
I was just going to say, if only Liverpool were playing like Leeds and Newcastle in game week 32 and 33, which they are, 2 horrific defences. They get captaincy options those weeks.
That's it. As well as you're looking at captaincy options, and he is pretty much a standout if you go back to what we know he is capable of. So I'm tempted by Salah still. With Arsenal, I can't figure out who to pick out of that side, so I'd rather not stress myself about it, to be honest. Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere near us. I'm pretty sure. I know they're great fixtures, but the fixtures thing this season, man, has stuffed me over so many times. I mean, it really has. I mean, so many times I've looked at a block of fixtures and I've got players in based on that, and it has just not gone well whatsoever. So I'm trying not to get so sucked in by it, trying to do more the kind of form and fixtures smudged together type thing.
I wouldn't be adverse to Saka if he is fit.
It's just
because you're looking at a
whether
player.
we'll protect him for Europa. That's my concern.
Exactly. But if you're going to take a hit on a punt on Arsenal, I would suggest going for someone cheaper.
Yeah.
That could get the points like Saka if you think he's going to play in the Premier League. And then with Jota, I kind of need to figure out what Klopp is trying to do with that side now that Jota's back. If Firmino comes back, is he going to play all 4 of them? Is he too worried about his defence? So I know a lot of people are going to go towards Jota just to get that coverage for those fixtures. But I feel like maybe the move is to go to Salah while everyone else is going Jota. So I might not even go anywhere near Liverpool, but I'm definitely considering it.
Do you have the money to go straight back to Salah, or would that be a wild card thing?
As long as I take a player out that is 9 million or more, yes.
So you could move. Do you have
I can
Bale?
move
Yeah, you
Bale.
said you're Bale. You can move Bale back to Salah.
Yes, but I probably won't this game week. And then it depends what my move is.
I would be doing it, man. No, joking.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not sure
I'm
I
not
will actually
joking,
bring myself.
but-
I'm not sure I can bring myself to bring him back in. So.
Yeah, it's tough once you sold him and you have that money in the bank. It is difficult. I mean, Brett has pretty much been the architect of it this season. You got off of him at the right time, and you haven't had him for ages. How are you feeling now with his run of games, Brett? Are you tempted, or are you literally like, I am free of him? I don't want to. I'm happy enough to stay away now the rest of the season.
Yeah, always tempted by Salah, you know. It's gone a lot better than I expected it to drop him in like game week 18, and to, like I said in the previous stream, to not be punished at all. Like it's almost like I've been able to forget about Salah for months and not even have to worry about it, which is strange because normally when you drop Salah every game, it's hard to watch the match, you know. So it's been quite liberating, really, not to have to worry about him and you know, have a bit of extra budget at the same time. But he's always, you know, one performance away from being straight back on the radar. So yeah, I think maybe in 2 game weeks' time, you know, Arsenal away, of course he can do well against Arsenal. He has done in the past, but I'm fine without having Salah away to Arsenal. Then Villa, you know, is a tricky game. And then it's the Leeds and Newcastle fixtures. Those are the 2 where I could easily get tempted by Salah. If I free hit in 32 at home to Newcastle, he'll be straight in the free hit team. No doubt, probably go Jota and Salah for that one with a defender as well. And of course, the Leeds fixture could be really high scoring. He got a hat-trick against them in the first game this season. So, you know, there's a potential for a really high score for Salah in those games. So I don't know. I'm going to give it 2 more game weeks. I don't really mind not having him for Arsenal and Villa, and then maybe look to get him then for Leeds, Newcastle, and onwards, because the fixtures to end the season are really nice for Liverpool. So yeah, I'm going to give it 2 more game weeks and see if Jota can maybe, you know, impress me in those, and maybe I can go him over Salah instead. But yeah. he's never far away from my team, Salah. Never far.
I think maybe Mish's case, there's 2 ways she can play it. She can put him in and then know that she can always downgrade him if it doesn't work out in the next game week or 2. Or obviously maybe just have a contingency plan on how to get him back in should she want to, because obviously if she's wildcarding now, makes it more difficult if you spread your money around. But if you have a bit of a plan on how you could get Salah back in, then it's always a good way around it. Okay, then, just want to quickly touch upon captains for game week 30 before we go to the chat. Brett, can you make sure we do Mustafa's first, please? Because he's asked very nicely and he's got to go to bed. So
By the way, Mustafa, follow us on Twitter. Get your questions in on Twitter,
Yes.
and they'll be answered at the beginning of the stream. Just a tip.
Good plug there. Okay, so let's chat about captains for game week 30. Andy, thoughts, buddy? Who have you got and who do you think will be up there?
So I think the standouts 2 and 48 of them both. Kane, obviously, you know, in form. I know you said he scored was it a lucky penalty or a dodgy penalty?
Well, you know, it was one of those ones. It wasn't a dodgy penalty given. It was a penalty, but I do really feel like he looked for that penalty. Like he proper looked for it.
It's fair enough, you know, and obviously he's played for England, you know, and played well for England as well. Newcastle looked horrific against Brighton. Mourinho's on a mission. And, you know, so, you know, I think that Kane is probably the standout option this week. Bruno against Brighton is probably another one, even though, you know, Brighton's defensive stats have actually been pretty good and they kept a clean sheet, and United tend to play better away from home than at home. And kind of the interesting one then, I think the punty sort of ones again is the Chelsea ones we've mentioned, like, you know, West Brom. Offensively are pretty awful. Defensively, they have improved actually, and I know I mentioned Havertz earlier and stuff. I think there'd be a good option, but a Chelsea defender I think could actually be a really good option this week. And when with Chelsea, they don't seem to score many goals even when they play well and win. So if you go for someone like Werner or Havertz, Mount or whatever else, I think you'd be if they score, they're more likely to get a clean sheet than they are for a specific player to score. So I think Asby could be a really good shout. But Kane, for me, he'll be my captain, and not because I'm scared of his ownership or anything like that, which has been obviously the chat all week. I think he's the best captain. I expect him to score. So yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be Kane for me as well. Some good options in my team this week. Obviously, Bamford as well, with Rafinha as well. But I mean, Sonny coming back, if he's fit, there's a little bit of me that loves that kind of slight kind of midfielder punt, for the extra midfield points. But yeah, I'll probably just be sticking with Kane. What about you, Ray?
Yeah, echo what you guys said, really. I think Kane is a standout. But funnily enough, Andy, I also think Aspie's a good shout, because I think he'll definitely play. I don't think Chelsea will concede. And I think we should enjoy Tuchel's kind of 3-4-3 at the moment, where they're being more organised and they don't concede, get the shape right. Because I think next season he'll try to be more expensive, kind of his typical 4-3-3. So I think we should enjoy it while we can and go double defence on the former question.
I think it's just a shame that Alonso or Reece James, for example, aren't
Nail,
because if they were, you've got that massive attacking threat. Like Alonso, if you knew Alonso was starting, I think Alonso captain, absolutely fantastic. Exactly. I suppose the only thing you could do, because I've noticed that when Alonso or Chilwell play, they tend to play the 90. So if you if you want to go for a mega punt, you could captain Alonso, put your vice on Kane, maybe, but if he comes on, if Chilwell kind of limps off on the 89th minute, your weekend is ruined, because it's the first game. It's the first game of the game week as well.
I fully agree. You almost want one of them to get injured, bless them, isn't it? And then the other one will start. I'm sorry. I'm just saying what we're thinking.
Injuries make things so much easier, don't they?
Fantasy football makes you a nasty person.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think it's okay if you add in brackets from a fantasy perspective. That's what I tend to do. Obviously, from a fantasy perspective. I don't mean in real life.
Chilwell looking at Twitter.
Yeah.
From a fantasy perspective, I hope you get injured,
mate. It's fine. Yeah. I'll get myself in there. I'll take myself out. Cool. Jay, what about you? Anything different there with captaincy? Are you going rogue this week?
No, I'm most likely going to go Kane. I have considered Bruno, of course, and Leeds as well. Maybe I'll just stick it on Grealish and take a real punt.
Okay.
Fulham, home, maybe. Nice. But I doubt it. It'll be Kane.
What about yourself, Kurt?
I'm after no way. I'm still upset with myself. I've made a few shocking transfers this season. I still can't quite get my head around. One player came in, scored a scrappy goal, and you think, yeah, you know what, captain for double game week in a failing team that is doomed to be relegated. Now I'm after Mega Hall. So he's currently sitting on that. Alonso.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Cool.
But he's I've captained defenders quite a lot this season. Some of them I've got really right. Some of them I've got horrifically wrong. I've captained Cresswell when he got 10 points. But I've also captained, for example, Dallas last week when he got 2 points.
We're all ignoring John Stones in this. Watch him score braces against Leicester.
I captained Diaz and I think he got 0 points in the double.
Oh, right. Shocking.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Cool. Brett, anything against the crowd there? Are you
Unfortunately not. No, of course the Leeds boys are tempting at home to Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And Fernandes at home to Brighton as well. But it's on Kane. Newcastle just looks so poor. So
yeah.
I can't changing, unfortunately. I know it's
It'd
boring.
just be the 1 week, wouldn't it, where you're so confident about your captaincy, and then Newcastle decide to be like the defensive team that they once were.
It's happened before. Week 3 last season, I
Yeah.
think Kane scored in maybe the first 2 game weeks. I wildcarded him in, captained him at home to Newcastle and blanked, and then
Yeah, they
of
lost
course it
1-0.
was early into the season, but it just kind of put me onto a really like a snowball effect of a
Yeah.
terrible season, you know. So Kane has let me down against Newcastle before, but they just look so dire at the moment.
Also, I assume maybe all of us have triple leads as well, so we don't necessarily need to captain them. You're kind of covered. I think that's why most people aren't wildcarding, because they had.
Although I think a lot of people
leads.
got rid of Bamford with the whole, injury gate thing. Not necessarily in the community, but I think outside he dropped quite, he did drop a bit, because I remember when he scored, I did go up a fair bit in rank, which hasn't really happened when Bamford scored for me before. So I think, a few people outside of the community may have sold him on thinking he was actually injured.
I have a friend that doesn't watch any of my stuff or any of the Twitter community or any YouTube. He took him out for Rodrigo, just brought him back in before the game week, so that was a -8 move. Made another 4 transfers, and he still beat my score.
Oh my word. You just gotta love it, haven't you? You've gotta love it. Okay, cool. Brett, do you want to give us Mustafa's question, please?
Sure. He asked a couple, actually. The first one was about captaincy, so we've kind of talked about that now. He asked whether it be Rafinha, Bruno, or Kane. All solid options, but we've kind of gone through our own there for him. The next question he asked is, what are we thinking on Man City defenders? He wants to know, is it time to move them on? He's got Diaz at the moment, so I guess he's maybe worried about, Champions League rotation, this kind of thing. Anyone selling their Man City defenders?
I'm kind of considering it. So I've got Stones and Cancelo, and it's always a bit of a with them. I've talked about it before on the show, that it feels like 1 week they won't play and the next week they'll haul. So it's really difficult to know what to do with them, especially with the wild card around the corner. But I am quite keen to get into some Chelsea defence myself. So I think maybe Cancelo might be the one out of the two to make way, only because he seems more of a rotation risk than Stones, even though they tend to get rested together. But I don't know what it is, but Stones just seems a little bit more nailed in that kind of middle of the defence. So I am tempted to move one of them on. Whether I'll move back to double in the wild card, I'm not sure. But if I did, I probably wouldn't go back to Cancelo anyway. I'd probably move on to Diaz, just because he feels more solid. But yeah, like Andy touched upon earlier with Pep Roulette, and so there are so many games. It's going to be so tough to know who plays. Then again, with our budgets being as free as they are, and if we are, I guess, without Salah till the end of the season, it is the sort of thing where maybe you could have 2 and you'd probably likely have quite a strong bench in order for somebody to come in should one not play. So I'm considering it, Brett. Seriously considering it this week to get rid of one. I'm not sure long term though.
Yeah. That's a good point. I was going to say the same, really. Like Andy said earlier, it's the season of, we've all got such a big budget because a lot of the big hitters like Salah, we haven't had to squeeze them in so much.
And even De Bruyne up until recently, really.
Yeah. So, like with the likes of Alonso for Kurt, we've got the luxury of having a solid bench for players.
Yeah.
And these defenders, especially with Man City, if they don't start the game, they're not going to get subbed on. It's very rare that they do. I did have the double up for a long time. I had Stones and Diaz since game week 18, and those two alone have been like the best part of my season. They've just rescued me so many times. But I did sell Stones this week just because I'm looking at the Champions League, and then because they had the blank, then they had Leicester away. And I saw that Dallas had, Fulham and Sheffield United. So I thought, I'll get off the double defense now. I'll keep Diaz because he'll most likely play almost all of the games anyway. And I just thought to myself, I quite like the option to have the third attacker slot available for Man City, just in case. And looking at their fixtures, I know Spurs have been given a double game week now in 32, but I was looking at Man City's fixtures, and I think in 31 they have maybe Leeds.
Yeah, they do.
And I was looking at Aguero as a huge differential for that fixture. So I wanted to just free up the option to have a third City slot, and maybe De Bruyne in the future as well. So I thought it's time, because there's some good defenders available now, like with Chelsea as well. I thought, okay, I'll just roll with one, and I'll just keep Diaz probably for the season now. If he gets benched, then one of my defenders like Kufal will come in. Not the worst option. But yeah, I can see a bit of rotation there, maybe for Stones, because I think Pep will want to start Diaz and Stones for the Champions League. So I would keep Diaz personally. I think he's just a solid option. So
What if you had Cancelo and Stones?
I was going to say that doesn't help Nim. She doesn't have
Yes.
yeah, sorry, it's Mustafa that does. He has Diaz, so it was in his
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nim,
There we go, Brett. Always thinking about the viewers.
Yeah.
Good lad.
For them first.
I think I'd probably have to get rid of one of them, because there's going to be a scenario when both of those are probably benched.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
got one of them.
Well, I did have both. I have got rid of Cancelo, and it's possible I get rid of Stones as well, just because Chelsea are now such a great option.
Yeah.
So for me, it's either keep one. If you are going to keep one, I'd also agree that DS is probably your best bet. But I might just go off of City's defence completely, just because there are the likes of Chelsea. Potentially, you've got Wolves. There have been other defenders that have been good all season, like
love
Cresswell.
how Stones has done so good for me this season, though. There's a bit of me that just kind of wants to leave him there, play him, and then if he doesn't play, whatever. But if he does,
his
then
price
those
helps
goals,
there, doesn't it? His price helps with you keeping him there as well, because he's not as expensive as DS and Cancelo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to sell him. It was only because, like I said, because of the blank in 29, and they blank again in 33.
You haven't got the wild card, have you? So it makes it a bit more complicated for yourself.
Maybe it's time to get rid of one of them.
No, it's fair. I'm a tad bit annoyed with myself, I have to admit, that I still don't have my triple captain, because on the Aguero news, I would have loved to just one last time, last game week. Yeah, because he's done it for me before. Last game week of the season, triple captainship, happy days. The year we went to the awards, ka-ching, gave me a lovely green arrow. Would have loved to do it again this season, but maybe just the captaincy will do. We'll see. We'll see.
Is there the potential for fans at that last game as well?
Yeah, because I think they're going to try and delay it, aren't they, a week, and then
So Aguero in front of some fans, last game.
Yeah, home to Everton.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see.
So we called it first, everyone. Just so you know.
Yes. 9 game weeks early.
30. When everyone's saying it, game week 37, we did it here first.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, then. What's our next question then, Brett?
Cool. Okay. So Nuclear Atom, it was just going on from his previous question. We talked about Havertz as his 1 week punt, but then he wants to know what we think of Mason Mount instead of Havertz potentially. So have any of us considered Mason Mount at all? Because he's been in really good form. And yeah, with West Brom at home next and some great fixtures for Chelsea. Is anyone here considering Mount?
Yeah, he's definitely on my watch list for sure. Think he's a great talent. He's done very well. Did great under Frank, and I think he's been finding his way a little bit under Tuchel. He's been dropped a couple of times, hasn't he? I don't think he's been a 90-minute man every match, but he's definitely playing his way back into the team, and I like him as an option actually, especially with these good fixtures. As we say, we're all going to have a fairly decent bench, so there is the option if he doesn't play that you have somebody fairly decent coming in anyway. So I like him as an option personally.
Anyone else? Ray? Go on. Sorry, Fergie, what were you going to say?
Oh, so yeah, no, I could. I agree. You know, I think as a season-long pick for the rest of the season, I think he's played most of their games. He was suspended from the second leg, wasn't he, of the Champions League, which is why he missed that game. But I think he's played most of the games. I think for a 1 week punt, the reason I go for Havertz is obviously the manager has said that Havertz is going to be like his number 9, and you know, just thinking about it really simply, if Havertz is further up the pitch than Mount, he's going to have more opportunities to to score an assist. But I'm wildcarding in 31, and Mount
Be
is
price led as well,
definitely,
wouldn't it? I guess.
exactly. But Mount is definitely on my radar. I think he seems to be kind of one of the first names on the team sheet. You know, from what I can see at the moment. So I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, so he had that little wobble of games there around kind of Wolves 28, 79, and Burnley. Then it was 90 minutes and 69.
Yeah.
And then 90, and then 80 and 24, and then 78. So yeah, it's probably me seeing him coming off early that's not really clocking, but he seems to be starting the games. So yeah, I definitely like him as an option.
If I was going long term for Chelsea attack, it would be Mount for me. But I probably won't go Chelsea attack anyway long term. But for a punt, I'd say it's probably just as likely to pay off as Havertz for 1 game week.
Yeah.
So it could go either way.
It's very hard to and this is why I'm, like in 29, right? I think in hindsight, it's easy to say that, Lingard and Trossard, well, they were obvious picks, right? I mean, how many times have those guys scored 14 pointers and 12 pointers? I think for 1 game week, it's very difficult to make kind of make an educated decision. Like as Jay said, I completely agree. Over like a period of games, the last 8 games of the season, if you pick Mount, I think that Mount could score. In those 8 games, you could get like a couple of goals and a few assists, right? But you never know exactly which game he's going to get them in, which is why I think for 1 game, 1 punt, I find it really difficult to kind of say that player, because you can look at all the stats in the world. You can look at the games, look at the eye test. You just never know who's going to do it in that 1 game week. So I just think whoever you go with, I'd go with your gut. But and don't, if it doesn't happen, I just wouldn't worry about it, because it's so hard to try and know and figure out. Because if we could do that, we'd all be very rich, wouldn't we? If we could work out who's going to score the goals.
Record
I think also
that clip, play that to me after game week 30.
But also I think with Chelsea it's difficult. They've got so many attacking options, isn't it? I mean, it's like the Tuchel shuffle, isn't it? It's really difficult. I'd probably, sorry Nuclear, but I'd probably be boring and try and get in Aspie if you really want a Chelsea player. I think I could see Havertz and Mount not playing. Well, I mean, do they deserve to play? Absolutely. Have they looked brilliant, especially Mount? Totally agree. If I picked one attacking Chelsea player, if I was wildcarding today, it would be Mount. But I got to make sure I have a decent bench, because there'll be games where he won't play. So 1 week punt, definitely Havertz for me, if you set on a Chelsea attacker. But long term, like Jay was saying, I'd go with Mount.
Wait, we agreed.
Oh my God. What's going on here? What is this?
Let's talk about Odegaard.
We've had international
No. Whoa. Let's not. Brett, just throw us in another question and direct it to Kurt, please.
Sure. I was going to direct it to anyone that's got the wild card still, because it's a question from Jones 79.
Kurt has it. So.
Cool.
You can start it.
So his question is, he wants to know when we think is the best time to play the wild card. He says, with the recent fixture announcements, and which team should we target for the last part of the season? So obviously a few teams today, like Spurs, have been given this double game week, and now there's also a bit of information up in the air, because there's some talk about giving like fans the chance to go to the last 2 games or something, right? So fixtures could get moved, or I don't know, something like that. So yeah, he just wants to know when we think is the best time to play the wild card, and which teams we should be targeting.
I think one player I'm definitely targeting is a little known lad called Martin Odegaard. I'm sure other people have got
a fixtures.
No, and he's been to be fair, he's not a bad player. albeit
not, is he,
I
Jay?
never said he was bad.
you
We can start this if you want.
I believe
Let's.
you said something like, "What's the point in bringing him in?"
I didn't like the transfer.
When you have Saka, yes.
I
that
didn't
was
like the transfer because I
Smith Rowe,
worried
innit?
it would affect other people's playtime.
And it didn't.
I never said he was a bad player. So when he does well, and I get messages from Ray, like at 10 in the evening, I'm like, I didn't say he was bad.
No. You were just wrong. That's all.
Anyway,
I will admit I was wrong.
Kurt,
but I
damn
still
you for
think-
starting this.
I still think in this era of football,
Brilliant.
it wasn't necessary. Transfer.
there we go.
Move on.
No, in terms of things that you're targeting, I think in my team, I'm looking at bulking up my my Chelsea ownership. Currently, I've got one Chelsea player, which is effectively I've got half a Chelsea player, because if you look at a spread of 10 games, Alonso's going to play 5 of them, and it's pretty much set in stone. Now, I think Chilwell played twice in a row, but that's it. They keep on chopping and changing them, so there's no real. And I need to sort of reinforce that. As much as Alonso could be a good bet, and if you get him in the right game week, he could be an awesome player for you. Going forward, I think I need to reinforce that. So I'm looking at Chelsea back line. I'm looking at more people up top. I think I've got. Who have I got? It's Watkins and Diagne. So I definitely need some new blood up top. I'm looking at players like Iheanacho. I don't think anyone can really doubt that transfer. I think it's a shocker, really, that he's gone. People still haven't got him, and you haven't really thought about it. Because I look at it and I think, well, why didn't we think about it when he scored his hat-trick? I looked at it and thinking there was so much, fuss made about this player and that player, and how has Kelechi Iheanacho gone so under the radar? So I won't be making that mistake again. And I feel like the way Leicester are playing at the moment, they're not playing like a Leicester side that, won the league or still an underdog story. They're playing as if they are one of the big 6.
Yeah.
And they're playing with that confidence and that skill, which makes me think if they're playing like that now, I think they, tough games, they become 50-50s. Because you look at the pace.
issue has always been, though, we're worried what's going to happen when Barnes and Maddison come back.
They get better.
Yeah.
Also,
Really,
he's at that price as well, isn't it? 5.7 million.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of like, but for example, I think a lot of wildcards are going to have him. But like me,
I would probably have him because I'm not happy with. I'm not over the moon with Bamford or Antonio compared to Iheanacho. So I would probably have Iheanacho.
And if he does, let's say, get dropped because players come back, you've not got a £9 million player that's burning a hole in your pocket on the bench. You've got someone that's 5.7 burning a hole, a teeny tiny hole that you can afford to maybe let sit there for a few weeks, and the off chance that he'll still probably get game time, even if he is dropped. If he's dropped, he won't be dropped on the team and it's like, right, 5 minutes at the end of the game, Kelechi, because he's earned his place in the team. I think it's now chance for Maddison and Barnes to fight for it back, because why would you take out Iheanacho in the form he's in and the form Leicester are in? So I think I'm looking at Chelsea back line. I'm looking at Iheanacho to, 100% he'll be coming in for Diagne, whether I wildcard or not, because the fact I've still got
that's a good
Diagne,
improvement, mate.
it's part of the reason.
I don't think that's a bad spot.
I think the reason my mental health is
Or
so
you could
poor
buy
is the fact that every
Aguero.
time I look at FPL and I think, oh, what have I got today? Oh, I've got good points. I've still got Diagne. I've had him for like 5-6 weeks. He's been on the bench, 3rd bench player.
At least you
every
don't have to
single
worry
week.
about whether to play him or not. I mean, like me, I've got a headache every week. I mean, at least you can just put him there and be happy that he's there.
No, I don't put him there and be happy. I put him there thinking, I still transferred you in, and I still don't know why.
I think the reason why many of us haven't jumped on Iheanacho is probably the same reason why not many of us got defenders from Chelsea. Obviously, you have Kurt, you're kind of ahead of the curve there, right? But it's because there's been such focus on the double game weeks and game week 29. You were never going to bring in Iheanacho in 26, 27 or 28, ahead of trying to get out the optimal or, the maximum amount of players you can in 29. And we've been completely blindsided and hoodwinked by 29, and it's just,
Yes, Ray.
it's natural, right? But I think that, game week 31, I've never been so excited to wildcards because
Same.
I just think, I think that there's such a different set of teams that if you look at the at the teams now that all our our FPL teams are loaded with West Ham and Leeds and kind of all these players, but the runs of games of teams like we've mentioned Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal. Okay, Name, I know you're not too excited about Arsenal, but there could be a diamond or so in there.
Arsenal fan,
Seems
mate. I
like
just struggle to back.
things like Wolves, right?
Yep.
When we mentioned earlier with Liverpool, right? Salah and Jota
excited
double
about
up.
Neto.
So, like Salah and Jota for 32 and 33 could be absolute dynamite. And people without wildcards are gonna, I personally think are gonna really struggle to kind of get to a team. I think those who've held it back and can wildcard in 31 have got an opportunity to completely refresh their teams, and not for the sake of it, if that makes sense. It's not because you're scared of any ownership or scared of anything. You're looking at the teams, you're attacking the fixtures, some really good teams.
So,
really good
out of
fixtures.
interest, are you going to play it with just not thinking about blanks and doubles? You're going to play it on
100%,
because that's how I'm thinking of playing.
Likewise.
I'm thinking I'm not
So
going
to
to
answer
fall
the
into the trap.
No, I'm not worried. I very really do, and I think that if to answer the question, I think it was something about when's the best time to play the wild card. I think people are tempted to hold it back for maybe 34 or 35, looking at very specific 1 week game weeks, right? Whereby if you use it in 31, you've got eight game weeks, is it? You've got 8 game weeks worth of value out of that wild card. You can maneuver through the doubles, you can maneuver through these things, just getting enough players. But if you hold on to, like, I mentioned that at the start, I'm quite passionate about it. I don't know if you've noticed, but I am quite. It's something I go on about on the Green Arrow all the time.
Yeah.
We love passion, man. We love
looking,
it. Bring it.
it's kind of looking at game weeks in blocks, right, and not worrying about one game week score. It means absolutely nothing. If you had a stinker this week, and you scored 25 points. If you're 20k overall rank, okay, you've gone down from 20 to 40, right? But if you've saved all your chips and wherever else, and you've been having poor game week after poor game week, but you've smashed it, with 83 points, but you've gone up from 1.2 million to 700,000. I know which team I'd rather be, and I know which other rank I would rather have, and it's because you look at it all, right, and the value of a wild card for 1 game week for me, it's like, I think we're being blindsided a bit because 29 was a success. But if you look at 24, 25, 26, 27, they were all failures. All those doubles were all failures. Everyone who played a lot of chips, they were all complete damn squibs. And so I just think wildcard 31, set your team up for the running nicely, maneuver on the doubles. I think it's a complete no-brainer, personally.
Yeah.
Can I answer the question as well, Brett?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah. I mean, no, I fully agree with what you guys said. But I think
I thought that was going to be you answering the question. Yeah. I completely agree with it.
So Fergie read my transcript beautifully. Well done, brilliant. Checks in the mail. But the real assets I'm looking at are Chelsea defense specifically. So Mendy and Rudiger are just a lock for me, pretty much in my wild card. But the other two are Cody and Neto. So Jay, you kind of said Neto earlier. I'm really excited.
I also
said
fixtures. Worry earlier. Just saying.
You did.
I'm really excited.
Which is annoying because I want to beat you. So
don't worry about it. But I'm really excited by the fixtures. I'm excited of the ownership, and I'm also excited that the two combined are just over 10 million. So you're not exactly splashing a lot of money out of it. So, and also, Andy, the point you made about a full refresh, I've got 10 changes in my wildcard, and I'm so excited about each of them. And a lot of that is because I took out Salah as well. So I'm scared to not own Salah, but I'm trying to equalize by having Jota and Robbo, if you know what I mean. So,
and a lot of those 10, like looking at the teams, are all going to be kind of low-owned players, and you're not choosing them because they're low-owned players. You're choosing them because at that precise moment, they're probably the best options in the game. And this is what is so exciting about it. You're not wildcarding into 50% owned players. You're wildcarding into 5 and 10% owned players, which for me is just like, I'm absolutely buzzing to it. I can't wait until the deadline. I can press wildcard and then start kind of messing with my team. So excited about it.
And I think, and I think another thing as well is that I think 31 is definitely the best time. And also, we're talking about doubles for like 2 or 3 teams. It's very easy to just, for example, take out a Rafinha and bring in a Lucas just for 1 week, for example, So it's very easy to be quite agile and dynamic with your team. You don't have to rip the whole thing apart. But I think regarding a specific team, to answer the question, I think Chelsea defence and that double with Wolves really excite me.
Yeah.
I do want to give a little shout out to Brett though, because he has had Rudiger since his wild card.
Fantastic.
I love a
he's
pick,
done brilliant there out of him. So
Making it rain.
So I should have just copied his defence. I should have just looked at his defence and gone, yep, do that.
Yeah, strange because it's been 3 centre backs: Rudiger, Diaz, Stones. Who would have thought 3 centre backs? You know, and all in previous seasons has always been the Trents, the Robos, the creative.
Yeah,
wing
it's a good
backs.
shout.
And
Good
Those
shout.
3 have just been so solid for me. Crazy.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Okay, we'll have one more, and then we'll go to Jeff's corner. I have seen Jeffers in the chat, and he said Aguero till the end of the season, like De Silva 2 years ago. So yeah. My worries is though, does Jeffers? Do you really think Aguero starts every game between now and the end of the season? That would be my concern, because I know he's leaving, but I have a feeling Pep isn't really gonna flog him for the last 8 game weeks. I think he will just pepper him in here or there. Pepper. I didn't even mean to do that. Put him in here or there, and the last couple of game weeks I think is where he'll get
And
his.
without annoying Nim, I think there's a slight difference between David Silva last season and Aguero this season. Fitness-wise,
no,
Silva
completely
was
agree.
a lot more.
I'm not
vital to the
blinded.
side. Just in case.
Just because I love him.
You're not blind.
I don't have him in my
refuse
team.
to believe it.
Do I have him in my team right now? No, I don't.
Because
so
he's
I'm
been
not that
injured.
stupid.
That's common sense.
You
that.
probably have him in another team. Not that we have other teams here on this channel.
No, but can I add to that? That I think in the next 4 games, City are pretty much going to be probably only like 2 or 3 points away from the league. And at that point, the Champions League is seriously coming in with the cluster of fixtures. Now, I can see Aguero starting, because I think for 2 or 3 years, Pep has really been trying this false 9 to work in the Champions League. And I think he's got it now. I think now he's got the formation working as he wanted, where he doesn't need a traditional striker. So I could see Aguero / Jesus playing in the league games and
That's my
resting
concern,
the other
though.
players.
Like, I just don't think it's going to be Aguero, you're out, go, that's it now until the end of the season. I think he will get swapped and changed with Jesus, because
With
obviously
Jesus,
he wants Jesus to, like, or at least he is like Aguero's.
Well, neither will play in the Champions League, isn't it? I think I'm pretty certain on that.
This is exactly why I've been weighing up the Aguero hokey cokey with Kane in game week 31. Just as I'm not definitely going to do it, but I wanted to leave that option open, because at home to Leeds in game week 31, it's in between the 2 Champions League fixtures. And I was thinking, well, Aguero probably isn't going to start in the Champions League, so he'll start at home to Leeds. There could be a huge
it could be a cricket score, couldn't it? Because Leeds are not going to change the way they play.
Exactly, and Kane's got United that week.
8-2.
So obviously, the Tottenham double in 32 makes it a bit more complicated for me now. But if I can bank a transfer this week, have 2 frees, I could go Kane to Aguero just for 1 week and captain him just for the hell of it, just to see. But I'll wait until City play the Champions League.
Don't be tempting me, you cruel devil.
I love the thinking, man. I love it.
I love it.
I think the only thing with Aguero is I can't see him playing any more than like 65 minutes. I think that's the only thing kind of holding me back. You know, he might get his goal, but he's not going to play any more than 70.
We know what he can do in 60 minutes, though.
But I do have
well,
that
we've seen it
question
before.
mark around his match fitness, though. Like, I know what he can do, and I know he can just produce it out of nowhere, but there is that concern that in previous years he has at least been coming on and getting 20, 30 minutes here or there, whatever, but
Definitely.
he literally hasn't really even been getting that this season. So
and even when he's been playing, he's not
performing.
It's not he's hit the bar 6 times and just hit it wide. I think he scored 1 goal with a penalty.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what to do about De Bruyne. I'm like, with the Champions League, is he at risk in the Premier League, or will he be fine for the next couple of weeks because they want to get the league sealed? Like, you know,
I think they will, because also they want to make sure his match sharpness is up to scratch when the Champions League comes back in. So when I wildcard, I'm going to bring him in and have 2 Man City assets, and he'll be one of them.
Yeah.
Jay, I want to tell you.
Are you and
I wanna
Jay?
tell
Have
you
you
my
just
whole
copied
team.
Jay's team?
No. He wants to.
Probably just worth mentioning as well that City, have have got the Carabao final, you know, as we've mentioned already,
Mm.
in 33. They've also got the semi-final of the FA Cup against Chelsea again, which is going to be a really hard game. They're going to want to play their best players in that as well. So I think I think De Bruyne now probably plays, you know, if you think of who's kind of stuck on for City, I would say, you know, Edison, Diaz, De Bruyne, maybe Gundogan are the kind of 3 or 4 at the moment who are the stick-ons.
I miss Gundog already, and I only sold him for the
you know,
black
and they're going to play in the Champions League. They're going
Yeah.
to play in the semi-final. They'll probably play in the Carabao Cup final, which means, you know, who's going to play in the league, you know. But it's impossible. But, you know, I suppose you can just guess as far as you can go, I think. But it's tough.
Yeah.
Okay then, cool. All right, then we'll move on to, unless there's any more you think is a definite to be answered there, Brett, we'll move on to Jeffers' corner.
I had a question. Sorry.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah, go
Go
on,
on, Ray.
A Liverpool defender. What are the thoughts? So their fixtures are looking
That was
pretty
actually
decent.
on the chat anyway, Ray. So that's good.
Oh, perfect. And also,
Whoa,
couple
whoa!
of-
You said one question.
and also an add-on to that is God, you like Jay. And also an add-on to that is they got a few players who are going to start returning from injuries, and I think Fabinho playing as a pivot is just helping so much to protect that defense.
Pivot.
So I'm thinking, I'm really quite keen on Robbo or maybe Trent, especially if they have, especially if they have a sniff of getting into the Champions League. And just wanted your thoughts, really. Have any of you guys entertained possible Liverpool
I'm
defensive
thinking of
asset?
Trent.
No.
Trent.
It's complete opposites there. I'm thinking of Trent. Kurt, no.
No.
I think
Andy,
I like your
Go on.
strategy of Jota and Robertson, and my strategy might not necessarily be to get in Jota, but I'm thinking Liverpool's defence are still capable of clean sheets, like
And the assist
especially
potential.
with people coming back, and there's that assist potential. And I think Trent has started to look more like the Trent we're used to, and Robbo has been good all season. So I'm definitely considering a Liverpool defender.
I think with Trent as well, he was dropped for the England squad for not performing, you know, and if he wants to go to the Euros, he's going to have to turn on
Yeah,
this
good
last
point.
period of the
exactly.
season. So
Yeah.
I definitely think in wildcard I'm going Salah, Jota, and Trent are going to be my 3. And just watching them observationally in this second half of the season, it's been Trent who's been getting to the edge of the box and smashing the balls across, where it was Robertson kind of the end of last season and the first half of this season. I know Trent gets really bad rap for giving the ball away all the time, which he does, but also a lot of his giving the ball away is he's slamming the ball into the area all the time and they get kind of blocked and cleared away. So I think he's a really good option.
So, Andy, what are you at the moment in FPL?
50k at the moment.
50k, and you're thinking about going all 3 on Liverpool when you wildcard, or just is they the 3 you're looking at?
I'm thinking of going
Tripling
for
up.
those 3. Yeah, so
Wow.
I'm quite. I wouldn't say I'm like set on it, you know, because obviously things change week on week. Depends how they get on, you know, and how looking Arsenal against Madrid and stuff as well. But at the moment, yeah, I'm like. I'm
Which
looking at the
premium would miss
fixtures.
out, Andy? Would it be like KDB or Bruno? One of those 2 won't be.
I'll be KDB. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't have KDB. I don't think he's. You know.
So would you have? What
every game.
City would you have?
I will have Diaz and Gundogan. They're my 2. So I think, you know, Diaz is, you know, as you kind of mentioned earlier, you know, he's nailed as they come, and Gundogan for his value. I think if he plays, he's incredible value. If he doesn't play, I guess someone off the bench. But for, you know, I bought him really early for like 5.5 million or whatever it was. So he's so cheap. Just stick him in there. If he plays, amazing. If he doesn't, it doesn't matter. So that's my kind of thought with it.
Interesting.
And then, you know, kind of looking at, you know, you said maybe Aspie, maybe Mendy, maybe Rudiger, maybe Mount, maybe Havertz. I think with Leicester's attacking fixtures are absolutely superb as well. They mentioned between 32 and 35. So, you know, Iheanacho, we mentioned 5.7. If Harvey Barnes comes back, maybe even, you know, a double up with Kane and Vardy up front. You know, I think there's a lot of scope there for a really, really exciting.
I think once you put Salah in, though, that kind of depletes some of that a little bit.
Yeah, but I probably couldn't afford Kane and Vardy if I had Salah. But just names, just kind of names at the moment, and you never know, right? We're only a game away from an injury. We're only a game away from,
well, like somebody said when we were talking about the captaincy, they're like Kane still has to get through midweek. So
I could even do, Vardy, I think plays, I want to say West Brom in 32. So I could even, and Salah.
Oh, he's another one my mum loves, honestly.
And like Salah, Salah has Liverpool, so I could wildcard into Vardy and bring in Salah the week after. Just as an example,
or you might keep Vardy because he plays Crystal Palace at home the week after West Brom.
They've got lovely fixtures. Or I could like double up with Vardy and Iheanacho against West Brom, and then just keep an Iheanacho. Just as an example, there's all sorts of things, but these teams are mentioned.
So you're thinking of going it's just quite interesting. So like from your point of view, you are really looking to kind of bank on the differential side of it and do something different with your, you're not happy sticking around that 50k. You want to really push on and try and attack these,
I'm not even thinking about ownership here. I'm just going to pick away. And this is why I'm so excited about it. I'm not thinking about ownership. I've looked at the ownership. Obviously, I know the ownership, but the reason I'm so excited is because this is the team I would pick regardless. I'm not looking at differentials. This is the team that I look at that I think, my goodness, this team looks absolutely like Chelsea, Liverpool, Leicester, maybe a Wolves player or two. I'm quite excited about.
See,
Arsenal,
Chelsea and Leicester I can get on board with. Liverpool and Wolves I'm a bit more kind of like form-wise. It
only
takes been in great form.
Neto's
but triple Liverpool I never thought about, but I can see.
But if you think of how a normal FPL player would play, right? So say Salah's playing. Is it? Oh, I can't remember now. Is it Leeds? Is it Leeds in 32? No, who they got? Yeah, Leeds in 32, right? So the vast majority of managers will wait to see how he does against Leeds, right?
Yeah.
If he braces against Leeds, you're already ahead of the curve. If he doesn't brace against Leeds, you haven't lost anything. So this is why I think like trying to get in ahead of where you think rather than looking at proven stats at times. Like those Leeds and Newcastle games for me, they're probably the best two offensive fixtures in the league at the moment. So jump on it without the form.
Bloody hell, Andy.
If he does,
you're like my wild card is already this is not what I was thinking.
Salah's coming back,
bangs,
baby.
If he bangs, you're ahead of the curve. You'll have a massive rank rise, and then next week everyone is taking -4s to get in Salah because they won't be able to afford him in one move, right? To captain him against Newcastle. You've already got Salah, and you're already looking ahead to the next group of games.
I know where to come now, Fergie, when this all goes terribly wrong. All right, so wildcard,
but the thing is,
triple Liverpool, and they're crying when they do nothing. I'd be like,
but if he doesn't bang, I don't think you look at the alternatives. There's not masses of alternatives.
There's not loads of captaincy options.
City away to Villa, right? It's not going to be everyone. Mass,
with rotation as well.
Exactly, and you see Salah starting more games than De Bruyne from now until the end of the season, which is something I never even thought about.
And actually, 32 is the double for Spurs, right? So everyone's going to captain Kane, so you can get in Salah basically as a freebie. If he bangs, amazing. If he doesn't bang, it does not matter. And that's what I think about it. And then you've got him in place for 33.
It's slightly annoyed because I was thinking
Fergie, we triple captained this clown.
I was thinking of Salah. Ray wasn't, and I'm like, cool, that's my differential because we're picking so many of the same players. And now he's like, I'm sold. I'm like, no, don't be sold.
No, because he makes a very compelling point, and also Jota and the defender, as I was previously thinking, but also with Salah as well.
And the thing is, like I say, right? If he doesn't bang, it won't matter because who you're going to have there in place? People are stuck on Rafinha, Trossard. We mentioned players like Mount or whatever else. Okay, they may score a goal, right, and get 7 or 8 points. If Salah blanks, he gets his 2 or his 3. It's not the end of the world, but the rank rise you could get off that.
It's just going to be
a proper and then you've got him in where people are taking -4s the week after.
And Liverpool are going to get form eventually, aren't they? They're too good a team, in my
Wow,
opinion.
we've been saying that for a long
So-
time now, Ray.
so-
I'm not going to lie. It feels
those
like we're
last-
saying that
Yeah, but
most
Jota's
weeks.
back.
Those last
Well,
7
Jota, I'm very
fixtures are
interested
unreal.
in Jota on my wild card. I think Salah may have to impress me a little against Arsenal. Do we think he comes back and he will play against Arsenal because of being in Egypt? I mean, I'm not sure what happens there with the whole
Who else
does
would
he
play?
need
I mean,
to
it's more who else.
self-isolate and all of that sort of stuff?
With the right testing, I don't think so. I think they
No,
get
we're good?
exemption with football.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Just thought I'd throw that out there for anyone who might have captained
Andy,
that.
Salah it is.
I can't wait to get my invite back in Gameweek 34. Just so you can all go,
Just so I can-
what the hell are you
I
talking
was
about? you
finally
absolute
making
idiots?"
my rank and you ruined it.
I had a plan, Andy.
I think it's looking for opportunities, right? You can hold
Yeah.
rank easily enough, I think, but you now and then I think you've got to kind of look at an opportunity and think Leeds, Newcastle are 2 games that and if he doesn't bang, you might get a small rank drop. If he does, you're set up. You're golden for the running.
I think if he does anything against Arsenal, and I set my card in 31, it would be very unlike me, let's say, because I'm a very big Salah fan, to not put him in, to be honest. But my concern is if he does do something against Arsenal, then he will likely be in a lot of 31 wildcard teams. So yeah, that's my only concern with
we
that.
have some negative Arsenal fans. That's what I like to call you guys. But I feel like Arsenal are a side that can perform really well against the big sides at times.
Yeah.
So it's quite reasonable to think that it's not a great fixture to bring Salah in for. Yes, it could go the complete other way. Of course it could. Any game could. But Arsenal have turned up sometimes against the big teams. So it's possible they keep Salah out. I'm kind of hoping for it, to be honest.
Which makes it more tempting for the wildcard 31.
If he suddenly does really well against Arsenal, I'm like, oh, now everyone's looking at Salah.
Yeah, that's
Andy.
the kind of.
We'll see.
Oh wow! Thanks for that. You've definitely made us
Really good.
have a good think about that. And poor Brett's down there thinking, how do I get him in without Wildcard? Cool. Okay, then we'll move over to Jeffers Corner. And if you don't go follow at Austin66 UK, then do that, guys, over on Twitter. This section allows you, as our viewers, to get to know us all a little bit better, and it's a bit of fun, and you guys can join in too. Before I ask this week's question, the scores are as follows. I've been updated. Jay on 22
Pizzagate.
points, and myself on 22 points, Kurt on 18 points, Brett on 17 points, and Ray on 16. So, moving on to this week's question, and it's a song theme again. This time you have to choose a song that the other Wildcats and Fergie don't like. But this time the song must come from a list of the top selling solo artists that Jeffers says consists of Elvis Presley, Billy Joel, Michael Jackson, Elton John, Barbra Streisand, Bruce Springsteen, Madonna, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and Celine Dion. So we have to choose a song we think the other Wildcats and Fergie won't like from those people. So,
Me.
okay, Ray wants to go
Doing
first.
what I did last week. Let me get mine in first.
Go on then, Ray. You can go first, seeing as
Alright,
you warmed
so
up so nicely there.
Every Christmas, this song comes on for Mariah Carey, and I just want to absolutely pull my hair out. Now, hope you got your pipes ready, Andy. I did warn you, yeah?
You did. But they're all amazing singers. It's gonna be so hard to pick a song that I don't like.
But this song I don't stand because it's just all the time. But all I want for Christmas is you.
Oh, it's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I love that song.
I like that song as well. Sorry.
Oh no!
So it's not
Must be my rendition. Sorry.
It was, yeah.
Yes, it was so beautifully sung. I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I was all with you. And then you sang it. I'm like, that's such a good song.
God, how did I not know about this song?
When Mariah sang it, I thought, wow, that's rubbish. Ray sings it. Ah, beautiful.
Kurt, thoughts on All I Want for Christmas? Is it yay or nay for you?
Oh, it's absolutely a good song, yeah. unfortunately.
Okay. Brett?
It's a good song.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get a clean sweep, Fergie.
Oh,
Is
no.
it yay or nay?
Well,
Fergie,
you only ever
be
hear
careful,
it at
mate.
Christmas. You only ever hear it at Christmas. But when you hear it at Christmas, you absolutely love it, don't you? So,
Yeah,
I've got to say it's a
exactly.
good song. Sorry, mate.
Yes.
You'd done exactly the same
Yeah.
I did last week. Thought you were really confident. Thought, oh, you know what, I've got a banger. Really read the room poorly and come out of there thinking, oh, have I got no
Guys,
points?
during Christmas, we hear it like 17 times a day.
Yeah, but
It's
we hear
just too
every
much
Christmas
for me.
song that much. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's only like 20 of them. They all get played over
Jeffers,
and
you
over
meant
again.
what they like, right, Jeffers? Yeah. I'm so bad at this.
Oh, okay, come on then. Who's next? Jay. I know you got one.
Yeah, the bar's really low, guys.
Okay, so I did have some other options. That's why I wasn't as eager to go first. So hopefully I'm picking the right one out of these. But I've gone for
I like it.
Confidence by Elvis Presley. I don't know if you'll know it, though,
Is
because it's
that-
a bit obscure.
Yeah,
I can
you gotta
try
sing
sing
it.
it. So it goes,
Is it that one?
because
Little
he
less
had
conversation.
Oh, right.
confidence, a little thing called confidence. There's no job too immense when you've got confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally that the whole way through the song.
I don't like the song.
I don't know it. I'm gonna have to look it up. But just on that rendition, I'm not fussed
Well, no,
on
but
it.
I wouldn't just go on my rendition because it was it was already bad. I've made it worse, which is the point of the game, I
I
guess.
really
Maybe
should
I did
put
it on
Elvis
purpose.
Presley.
Anyone want to add in while we're waiting?
I
Don't know what
can't
it is,
say
what
I
it's had to
know
say.
the song, so
Yeah.
I
I
do
don't
have
know what
another
to
option
say.
if necessary, but I don't want to take it from anyone else.
To be honest, I'm
But
not.
again, I don't think anyone will have this other one either.
Okay, hang on.
Mig, it does sound very similar to High Hopes.
Exactly. That's all I was thinking. Very much similar. But I'll say no, I actually don't like the song.
No, I don't like that. No, I think you're good. I'll give you the point for that one.
2
Yeah.
I
points,
mean,
mate.
it's singing it to kids, and it's probably quite a good educational song because it's teaching them about confidence. But I think it's a terrible song.
Nah, we don't have none of that round here. No confidence round here. This
It's
is
definitely not one I
FPL,
play to
man.
myself when I'm thinking of FPL. I'm not like, I
Yeah.
need to build myself up. How am I going to build myself up? Confidence, Elvis Presley. That's it, I'm ready.
Okay. Do you know it, Fergie? Know it? Would you?
No, I don't. So I suppose I'd have to say if I didn't know it, it's probably
Yeah.
because it's not a very good song. So I'll go for no,
Yeah.
just based on that.
Kurt?
I think I have to follow suit. I mean, I don't know it, so I can't really say it's a good song. So
Sing to my kids.
no.
Well, guys, we should
I'm
name a
gonna
song that
follow
we
Fergie,
know,
no.
shouldn't we?
No, it doesn't say that in the question. It doesn't say you
Yeah,
have
it
to have
doesn't say
the
that, to
other
be fair.
Wildcats know the song and then also not like it.
Brett?
No, I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So we've had one clean sweep for and one clean sweep against.
Isn't it
That's my
like
second
golf? The
clean
lower the
sweep.
better.
No, it's like FPL, the lower the better. Cool. Okay. Fergie, go on. I'll let you go next. You got one for us?
If I'm just, I don't know if I'm the oldest here. I'm 40. I don't know if anyone's older than me, but I love all these singers. I think I found it really hard to choose a song because they're all such amazing singers. But so I kind of went for one that was sung about a rat because I thought that's the only kind of differentiating way. So I've gone
Okay, I'm
for
getting ready to Google.
Ben Michael Jackson.
I've gone for Ben by Michael Jackson.
Ah.
Do you know it? Do you know it? It's when he was
Yes.
young, I think, but it was. Have I got to sing it?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I do.
How am I going to find like
good
Michael
impression of
Jackson's
this.
key? So I don't know.
And the
Bend
two of
the
us
two of
need
us
look no more.
Nim?
We
Sorry.
both found what we were looking for.
Oh, I'm so gonna cut this. Oh, it's amazing.
With a friend to call my own, I'll never be alone. And you, my friend, will see you've got a friend in me.
Wow.
Ah,
look at that.
sold.
Solid. I love the song.
Yeah, I love it as well.
Oh, do you? Oh, bollocks.
Sorry.
I
Sure, what you
don't
going to the
like the
wilderness.
song. I loved your rendition, but I don't like the
Oh.
song.
Awesome
Okay,
rendition.
interesting. Kurt, are you on board with Ben?
Yeah, go on. It's a bad song.
And Brett?
Yeah, I don't like it.
So
Man.
3-2 on that one.
Decent.
Nice, not bad, not bad. You got a bit of a mix at least. I had a couple as well, but they are really unknown songs, unfortunately. So again, you'll have
I'll
to
reload
look 'em
up Google for the third time tonight. Jesus Christ.
The thing is, I can't listen to these songs if I don't know them because then it comes on the stream. So
Oh, right,
I'm gonna have to
okay.
tell Jeff afterwards if I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think out of them, I'll probably go with "Lucky Star" by Madonna. Just because literally she just repeats like "Starlight, Star Bright" like 100 times in it, and it just goes over and over and over again. And like, I can't even sing it to you because it literally all it does is she's like "Starlight,
No, you don't
Star
need to point if you can't sing it
Bright,
to us.
Starlight," and that's literally it, the whole song. So like, yeah, I mean, feel free to Google and let me know what you think.
I
But,
know it
yeah.
and I don't like
Yeah,
it.
I don't
To be
like
honest,
it either.
Madonna has had some stinkers. She's had some very good songs, but one of my backups is a Madonna song. So yeah, I agree. I don't like the song.
Yeah.
Okay,
Same.
cool.
Don't like it either.
No, I don't like it.
Don't like it.
Cool. Okay then,
Does
right.
Brett like
so...
anything? I just felt the last hour Brett's gone. I don't like it.
Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like
I'm
it.
still talking about Fergie's Wildcard.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't
Jealous
like
you
it.
can't get Salah in, that's why, Brett.
Salah, triple lead, Liverpool. Don't
No.
like it.
Brett, is that you?
Okay, go on then, Brett. You tell us what you think is a bad one.
Yeah, I've gone for a Madonna song as well. I actually really like some of Madonna's songs, to be honest, because I remember them from my childhood and stuff. My parents would listen to it. But there was one which is like a really famous one called Vogue.
Yeah.
I just don't like that song. I can't really sing it. It's like strike a pose, Vogue. It's just, it's not good. It's not catchy. It's a strange song.
Mickey,
Really famous video, but the song.
Meg in the chat, overrated and scary veiny arms.
Well, we're not
Poor
getting Madonna on the show now, are we?
Yeah. Okay.
Just not one of her good songs, in my opinion.
That is McTavius's view, and not the view of the FPL archives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like it. Sorry, Rhett. After a few drinks, I'm happy to kind of give
Sorry,
it
I
the
was
old,
going to
give
say
it
I
the
like it
Vogue.
as well.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because of the hand things that she does.
Yeah, exactly. If you're in a club, you've got to start striking a pose.
No, I'm with Brett. I don't like it.
Okay.
It was my answer,
Split
but
it.
I don't like it.
Gutted.
I've got a backup though. I had a
Okay.
catalogue of backups.
All right, okay. Fergie, are
mainly-
you on?
I
And
like
let
it. I
Fergie
like-
say.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely of an age, yeah. I was
Yeah.
discoing, going to all the weddings and all that with the old so yeah, I'm all
Yeah.
over
Oh
it.
yeah.
Love it. Love it. Okay, go on then, Kurt, with your plethora of backups.
Yeah.
Look at the
unfortunately-
confidence. He's coming at us with confidence again,
No,
lads.
I've got no confidence because I had
better.
confidence last week and I had that shut down on me. So I'm of a. It's sort of thing. If you get the wrong type of song, you can sort of miss. Anyway, I
Yeah.
can't stand.
Guilty.
My mum's a huge fan of Madonna, and she'd go through phases
Poor
where
Madonna,
she'd
man.
have, because of when we used to go in the car to and from school, like driving to sort of football when we were a lot younger, just one CD, so it'd be that album just repeated over and over again, but she wouldn't change it for months. So I'd have the same songs repeated.
It's not
and a
necessarily
lot
that
of
it's a bad song. It's just that you're psychologically
Yeah.
damaged. From
Yeah, I'm
it.
just scarred.
Me,
I'm just
Mariah,
scarred. So
yeah.
artists like Cher was played a hell of a lot.
Oh,
and
love Cher.
goodness me, anytime I hear "Time Goes By," I have to leave the room. I'm jumping out my window. I can't do it. Fortunately, Cher's not one of the answers. So no, I had Vogue. the only other one I can say with confidence that I don't like is, and again, I've probably got this completely wrong, but Like a Virgin,
Dude, that's an
Madonna.
amazing song.
I can't stand it. And that is purely because I've probably been tortured with it and replayed over and over again on a CD that had about 8 songs on it. So every car journey, you heard it twice before you got to your destination. And on the way back, you'd hear it twice again when you got home.
How does it go anyway? I don't remember.
I'm not singing it.
Oh, come on. Everyone else has sung. You got to pump it out.
Like a virgin. Yeah, that's all you're getting. No.
That's
I
good
don't
neck
like it,
action.
but
I like
it's,
the neck action.
Giggity,
Yeah,
giggity.
it's probably
I
because
bet
I've
you
been
didn't record
scarred,
that
but-
one, did you, Kurt?
Oh,
No.
Ah.
No, again,
I
it
love
is
this
probably
song.
I've misread the room, but I don't like it.
Because of the Moulin Rouge rendition, I have to love it because it's just so funny. So yeah, I like it. Sorry, Kurt. What
Yeah, I
about
love this
you?
song, yeah.
Yeah, you like it, Ray? Okay,
Brilliant
cool. Fergie?
Yeah, sliding on my knees at weddings sort of job. So yeah, all over it.
Just imagining that.
Yeah.
Jay? You're not looking it up, surely.
You know the song.
No, I know the song. I can't decide if I like it or not.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
to be honest, I don't like the song, but I have very good memories with the song.
Same, yeah. So yeah.
So I
sort of
don't
the
know
same.
which way to go. Because if I just took it out of context of any time I've heard it before,
That first
don't
part
like
of the part that you said you don't like the song, but
Have good
Just
memories.
let's just
cut
take
the
that
rest out, yeah.
first part. You don't like the song.
I want to know.
I think I don't like the song, to be honest. I might have good memories with the song, but I don't actually like the song.
Okay, cool. I really want to know if Brett likes this one.
I was gonna say.
He is like the
everything, isn't he?
Simon Cowell of the group. I thought you said you
God.
liked some Madonna songs.
I do. I really
Surely
like
that's a
some other songs,
classic.
but those two I do not like.
Mate. Okay, fair enough.
Just,
Frozen.
as
song.
we're taking a knock at
Yeah,
Madonna
Frozen is a
anyway,
good
my
one.
second option was B Word on Madonna, which she released in 2015, which was absolutely terrible. And I don't think most people have even heard of it, but if you want to hear a really bad Madonna song, that's probably the worst one she's ever
I don't
done.
like Living for Love either, that she did, which was around the same sort of time. I think it was all on the same album. It's just really bad. I was going to go with Barbra Streisand Evergreen from Stars Born. I don't know, like, whether the other renditions have been any good by any of the others, but I didn't like the Barbra Streisand version. But yeah. Went with Starlight instead. Cool. And that was good. So, all right. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope you've had a fantastic international break and you're all getting your juices flowing again on your way out into Game Week 30. Hopefully, we've helped a little with that. A little thank you to Fergie for joining us. And I will pass you over to Jay to wrap us up.
Yeah, so again, thank you, Fergie. If you could just talk to Ray outside the stream and move him away from some of the options you mentioned, that would be greatly appreciated. Other than that, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you do want to check us out on other social medias, we are, of course, FPL WildCats, both on Instagram and Twitter, easy enough to find, and that will let you know when we're next going live, so you can get your questions in so they get answered near the beginning of the stream. With that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time.
them.